welcome to another edition of the Crotchety Old Men Podcast. Hey, I'm your host, George Crumley, along with Paul P.C. Clemens. How we doing today, Paul?
Hey man, I it couldn't be any better than it is right now. I'm loving life. I'm living life, and loving and living life with my man George Crumley.
Hey, that's good, Paul. That's really good. Hey, today on this episode of the Crotchety Old Men Podcast, I thought it'd be interesting if we talk about something a little different. We're always talking about finances and how to make sure you have enough money in retirement. But one of the things that's really important in retirement also is your health. If you don't have your health, you're not feeling good, you're in and out of the hospital. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's not going to work for you. So today I thought we'd talk about something else, and that's holistic approach to cancer and cancer prevention. Which starts, I'm sure, at an early age, but developing good habits as far as what you put in your body, when you put it in your body, good intake. So, PC, I know that's one of your areas of expertise, being that holistic man. So, kind of enlighten us. What you got for us?
Well, cancer is what's interesting about cancer is that all of us have cancer cells in our bodies right now. One of the things that is asked is why is it if we have cancer cells in our bodies, why aren't they raising their ugly heads? And of course, the answer to that question is the fact that our immune systems are holding these cancers at bay. Now, what causes cancers? There are a number of factors that will cause cancer. You've got genetic factors, of course, where the abnormal cells are passed on genetically from generation to generation to generation. The other thing is that your environment can create cancer and creates abnormal cells that turn into cancer. And the third thing would be your diet. Your diet, eating fast foods, eating processed foods out of a box, all of those things will contribute to cancer. The Your behavior triggers, such as smoking tobacco and eating sugars and drinking alcohol, promiscuous sexual activity, all of these things can contribute to cancer. Uh, you had a question for
Yeah,
me,
I did
George?
actually. Those are all good points. So let me tell you. So, I know one of the things that we always look at is, should I become a vegan? Should I stop eating meat? What from from a holistic perspective, where should I file that? What kind of emphasis should I put on that type of diet change? Because we grew up eating neck bones and
Everything
pig feet
from the rooter
and
to the tutor.
exactly. So
Yeah.
now you're talking about a whole lifestyle change. So how does that fit in the picture?
And that's one thing about cancer that makes it a double-edged sword. You get cancer because your body is trying to tell you that there's something that you need to do differently if you're going to continue in a healthy course of life. So, one of the first things that I would do is to understand what your blood type is. Because, first of all, your blood type tells you what kind of diet you need to be on. For instance, type A blood type, you should not eat meat. And the reason you should not eat meat is because with the type A blood type, that meat wreaks havoc on your digestive system. And you have all kinds of digestive issues just as a result of you eating meat on an A blood type. Blood type B, and that's positive or negative. Blood type B is that you must need meat in your diet. You need those fatty proteins in order to maintain a healthy protein diet. Um, and of course, you can get proteins from vegetables, but you need the fatty proteins that come from the meat. O, positive or negative, you can either decide to eat meat or you can decide not to eat meat, which is the old happens to be the oldest blood type in the world. That's the first thing that I would do, and then based on that fact, then you'd start to I would start to detox because you want to flush out all those free radicals. You want to flush out all that garbage. We probably walking around, George, and I'm not going to put you in the mix because you're pretty slender, but we are walking around here with 40 pounds of crap in our gut. And when I speak about gut, not just in the stomach, but in the colon as well. And so you want to flush that out because that can create a colorectal type of a cancer as a result of that crap just piling up and piling up and piling up. So then the third thing, once you recognize what your blood type is, arrange your diet in a way that would augment your health by way of either being a vegan or a vegetarian. Either way, some people are they have sensitivities with gluten, so certain breads and different things like that you'd want to be mindful of, which is where the vegan food comes in versus vegetarian. Um, and then I would stay as much away from the meat as possible. You and I, George, we have prostates, um, and prostates are sensitive to meat, especially at our age. I would suggest that once you start getting 40 and 50, you need to cut back on the red meat. The red meat has a lot of uric acid in it. That uric acid gets in your body and crystallizes, and that's where gout comes from. Um, but it also gets in your prostate and creates abnormal cells, and that's how cancer starts through that process. So I would say diet is key, man. It's that's your medicine chest right there. That's where you want to go for your medicine.
So, and what about fish? If you just want to eat fish, what about chicken and cut out the red meat? Is that a good way to go?
Uh, it depends. If you're getting a chicken that's eating grass and out in the yard and whatnot, that's okay. Because let's take a look at this. It takes a chicken, a little bitty. It takes a year and a half to grow to 2 pounds for a 2 pound bird in the store. The way they're processing chickens right now with the hormones, the growth hormones, and the 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 antibiotics that they're pumping into these birds, it only takes a bitty 3 weeks to go to market at 2 pounds. So I would be very careful about eating chickens that are processed the normal route. You want to eat a chicken that has just been in a yard, a free range bird. You know, same thing with fish. Um, you'd rather eat fish that are wild caught because they don't have the growth hormones and the antibiotics pumped into them, very much like the chickens. They're raised if they're farm raised, they're raised in these tubs, and they feed them growth hormones, and they feed them copious amounts of antibiotics, and that's not good for our health because the more antibiotics we imbibe from our environment and from the foods that we eat, the less likely we are to be able to ward off disease because we have so many antibiotics in our system that the antibiotics don't do any good at that point. You know what I mean? And now we're susceptible for disease at that point.
So, good diet, and then we got exercise.
Exercise is key. Exercise brings about those endorphins that communicate with the receptors in our brain to let us know that we're feeling good. Um, it helps us to lose weight, burn fat. Exercise is key, And it's like the old saying goes, um, if you ain't moving it, you're gonna lose it. So you really need to keep everything moving and grooving, and that's what also keeps us healthy.
Yeah. It's interesting because I talk to a lot of my friends my age, and one of the challenges is exercise. They look at it as more of a challenge, a chore, something that they're not comfortable doing on a day-to-day basis because it's the mental approach to it. I'm
Mm.
not saying that I have the best approach, but I kind of, since retirement, I kind of look at exercise as a part of my routine. I know every morning I'm gonna get up at 6:30. I'm gonna obviously praise God that I'm seeing another beautiful day. But then I'm also gonna get out there either on my bike or put on my running shoes or go out and do an hour. Okay, that's just my mental approach to it because if I don't, I'm regretting it all day. And it seems like most people are just the opposite. They get into that should I exercise? Should I not? I don't really feel like it today. So, help me. How do we help encourage people to get to that mental approach where they understand that not only diet but also exercise is so important in maintaining a healthy body and mind?
You know what, George? You really hit the nail on the head when you talked about routine. Routine is the best thing that we can do for ourselves because it's repetition. The more you repeat, they used to tell us in school, write it down, write it 2 or 3 times, 10 times. The more we do that, the more we etch that in our brains. The more we etch that in our brains, the more we want to do it. It leads us to that because, okay, you look around and you say, well, something's missing. Oh, I know what it is. I didn't do my run today, or I didn't do my bicycle riding today, or I didn't do my exercise, or whatever the case might be. But routine, 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 routine. When you do a certain thing at a certain time, over and over every day, that becomes routine to the point where it's almost like muscle memory. You do a certain movement every day and every time, and that muscle remembers that movement. It'll ache when you're not utilizing and using that movement, and at the same way, our bodies ache when we don't stick to a routine that we've established. So, in saying that, how I would start my day is I would get up, sit on the back porch, meditate for about 15 minutes. After I meditate for about 15 minutes, I either get on my bike or get my shoes on and get out and get to walking or riding a bike. We do a little bit of that every day. Then it puts in our bodies the ability to do a little bit more every week. And so when we do a little bit more every week, then we become a little bit more efficient with it. Our bodies are working more efficiently, and that's one way to establish a pattern is to have a routine. Have a routine that you don't break from, that you do every day.
Excellent. Hey, so okay, so now we've talked about diet, we've talked about exercise. Let's talk about herbs as far as supplements, to your body structure, because as even though you try to eat right, they say you should have 5 servings of fruit every day. Well, I don't know how to measure five. I eat a banana, I need some strawberries, I eat some blueberries and things like that, but I don't know if it's 5 servings. But so, how do you supplement yourself with vitamins, and what are, say, the top 3 to 4 herbs that you should probably make sure you get in your body on a daily, weekly basis?
Okay, let's go to vitamins first. Um, with any good vitamin, it requires good absorption. And 9 times out of 10, let's say, for instance, you're on high blood pressure medication, or you got diabetes, and you're on the various diabetes medications or you have high cholesterol. Blood pressure and high cholesterol rob your body of necessary minerals that are key in vitamin absorption. So let's say, for instance, we're on high blood pressure medication. Our bodies are being robbed of CoQ10, manganese, magnesium. All three of these are key in absorptions of vitamin A, C, and D. Those vitamins are crucial in terms of keeping our immune system at top grade level and fighting cancer. So if you're not supplementing your diet with magnesium and manganese and CoQ10, um, then you have issues with not only the vitamin absorption, but the CoQ10 is responsible for building the heart muscles and the heart wall and all of that. So now you're looking at helping your body fight heart disease. And so these are key things in terms of the vitamins aspect is concerned. Switching from the vitamins to the what was it? What was the other one, George?
It was vitamins and herbs.
Herbs. Good question. Very good question. Because there are herbs. When God made us, He knew exactly what we needed, and He knew exactly what we were bombarded with. God has put on this earth everything that would fit our need. And so, you need a person like myself or an herbalist who has studied herbs, what parts of the plant to use, and so forth and so on. Garlic is the number one herb that I would suggest right off the bat. Garlic is antiviral, it's antibacterial, it helps to scratch plaque out of your arteries. I mean, garlic does a lot of stuff. And I don't mean the garlic that doesn't have any scent to it, because if it doesn't have any scent to it, it doesn't have any power. The scent comes from the chemical that gives us its magical power called allicin. And without that allicin in the garlic, some people go to the store and buy garlic pills with no scent in it. Well, the allicin has been removed from there, and that garlic ain't nothing but a doggone uh, what do you call it? A clove of something or another. You know what I mean? Not
Placebo or
really
something.
doing anything. Second thing is echinacea. Echinacea fights off um, uh, colds, flus, serious antiviral. Honey is a good source of antiviral and anti-cancer producing herbs. And so you figure most of your spices, when you look in your spice rack at home, you already have a lot of these things in your spice rack that's going to help you with cancer retarding herbals. And of course, we can always, go to an herbal bookstore or whatever the case might be and look up the different herbs that will help us with this, that, or the other. It just depends upon what kind of organ it is that has a tendency for disease that you want to stop. But I would say garlic, honey, echinacea, um, burdock root. All of those are key herbs in the prevention of cancer.
Very good. So we've talked about uh, diet and exercise. We've talked about herbs and vitamins. In closing, is there anything else that you think is important? Because we've even talked about the mental aspect of it. So anything else
Yeah,
that
I
you
think
think is
I
important to
think
our listening audience?
for women, constant check your breasts. Do your mammograms, check your breasts. Um, a breast is a very how can I say, it's a lot of tissue in the breast. When you go to feel for a nodule that might be cancerous or whatever the case might be, you really have to press and feel around. You might even need help with your mate to do the same. Um, uh, but get your regular mammograms. Men, get your regular prostate exams. That would include a rectal exam, which most of us hate. That's when the doctor gets ready to put on that rubber glove with a smile. You know what I mean? But you need to. And the reason why is because your PSA, which is the blood test, is the antigen that picks up the cancer um, if you have it. Uh, uh, but it doesn't. It doesn't. There could be cancers that the PSA doesn't pick up. That's on the prostate's the surface, and if you do the rectal part of the exam, you can feel nodules that may be on the surface of the prostate. And so if they tell you that there's indications of cancer, make sure you get that biopsy. You know, those are some of the things. The other thing is that you want to meditate, which calms your body down, which relieves you from a lot of stressors, because the medical world will tell you that stressors do not produce cancers, but that is not true. um, Depending upon what you're stressing over, what organ is working on because of the stress, you could very well develop abnormal cells, and it affect that area that's most likely to be affected by a cancer, so to speak. Um, and of course, diet, exercise, good sleeping habits are very good, because sleep is what replaces the cells. That's when you go to sleep, the cells are dying, and they're being replaced by new cells. And without the sleep, you're not going to effectively replace cells. You're going to wind up having old cells that need to die, but because you haven't slept, those cells are still working strong.
Very, very good information. Remind everybody again, you're listening to George Crumley, Paul PC Clements from the Crotchety Old Men Podcast, talking about cancer and a holistic approach to living a better, more fulfilling life, to where you can enjoy yourself, enjoy your family, enjoy your grandkids. Hopefully, this episode has brought you some enlightenment and some education as far as what you can do from a diet perspective, a vitamin and herb perspective, and most importantly an exercise perspective, to keep your body in tip-top condition. And you can continue to reach out to the Crotchety Old Men Podcast on our website. You can continue to listen to us on Apple and Spotify and whatever you get your favorite podcast platform. We're here to educate you and give you the exposure to these different topics that will help you live a better and fulfilling life. Good PC, I know you got something to sign off with. What you got for us today?
Got a great affirmation, man. We were talking about changing diets and lifestyles and so forth. If you feel resistant to change, look in the mirror and affirm this: it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. I am open to change. I am willing to change. I greet the new with open arms. I'm willing to learn new things every day. Each problem has a solution. All experiences are opportunities for me to learn and to grow. And I am safe.
Thanks for that. And now you know. Peace.
Peace.
You have been listening to the Crotchety Old Men Podcast, produced in conjunction with the Crotchety Old Men Podcast, LLC. The information contained in this podcast is provided for your listening enjoyment, as well as to provide information, education, opportunity, and exposure in the complicated world of finance. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform, including Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. For questions regarding this episode or any other episode, please contact us at info@thecrotchetyoldmenpodcast.com or visit our website at thecrotchetyoldmenpodcast.com.